You gotta start with a good song, right? Let's get into it.
Yeah, you fucking with some wet ass pussy. Bring a bucket and a mop. Put this wet ass pussy. Give me everything you got. Put this wet ass pussy. Beat it up, nigga, catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard. Put this pussy right in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top, I wanna ride. I do a giggle, rollin' inside. Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes. Pussy is wet, come take a dive. Tie me up like I'm surprised. That's role play.
Do we like the music intros or no? I need to know. You let me know.
Make me scream. I don't public, make a scene. I don't cook, I don't clean, but let me tell you, I got this ring. Gobble me, swallow me, drip down the side of me.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I am super excited to be here again. So again, I am Allison Joy, and I wanted to take the time to give you guys an overview on who I am. So I have been an embodiment or female embodiment coach for the last handful of years. And now I'm just really deep diving into the sensuality and sexuality piece, because it's been such a huge piece for me personally. And I knew that there was missing when I was working with all of the women I've worked with before. It was like there was still this disconnect that was happening, and they were doing all the self-care, all the things right, and there's still a missing link. So then I really hyper focused on trying to learn how I could help them. So what I think is super important, and I'm going to get into all the teaching things obviously as we continue on, and this will be such an amazing thing for men and women to learn about female sexuality and sensuality, and it will benefit, both sexes for sure, hands down, 1,000%, right? So today is just going to be a little bit of a backstory on my journey, just in case you're just curious, right? Because there is a lot of sexual coaches out there nowadays. I think more and more it's getting popular, which I am 1,000% excited about. We need more and more and more and more and more, right? But there's this missing piece that I think is super, super, super important to look for, and that is life experience, right? Like, you have to learn all the education and the certifications and all that, which I totally believe in, and I think it's necessary. And then there's also the huge other piece of, life experience. And then you put those two together. That is the magic. That is when you can really just break down the walls, elevate yourself, and really, really help people. Because if you're, 20 years old, which more power to you if you want to teach about sexuality, get it, girlfriend. You haven't been through life. You haven't been through the ups and downs that life has in store that you learn from, right? Especially with women, it's okay, well, then there's the dating, and then there's the marriage, and then there's kids if you choose to have kids, and there's just all the things that you have, all the hurdles that we go on to get to where we are now. And that can be either a good place or a bad place where we need to make improvements. So that's why I wanted to bring this piece up, because I've had a lot of experience, and I feel like that is really, really, really important to let people know, because then they can relate to me. They understand I've been there and I've done that, and I've had the challenges, and I've had the setbacks, and I've had all these things that I've had to overcome. And I feel like that is a huge piece. And I just want you to know that I have just never been I haven't always been a really embodied sexual woman until later in my life. So I'm gonna get you into a fun little timeline, okay? So let's go ahead and travel back in time. So for me, you're gonna have to travel back quite a while. So I don't have a huge breakthrough story in the sense of like, I did not come from an abusive house, physical abuse, I should say. I did not come from a like sexual trauma, like overcoming that. I didn't do any of that. I was actually just a young gal that her parents, they had their own problems for sure. We had issues with alcohol and fighting and verbal abuse, but not anything physical. And they just never talk to us about sex. So I have an older sister and a younger sister, and we were just never, no one talked to us about it. And so I saw a lot of dysfunction, but I never saw my parents actually like loving each other at all, like at all. There was just no affection whatsoever. And I don't even remember having like too much affection towards us girls. So it was just, they did the best they can, and that was what they were probably raised with, right? It all just trickles down. So nothing crazy there. I do remember as a kid that I had this absolutely incredible love affair with a stuffed animal. And my mom caught me and my teddy bear together, and I was just a young girl, like exploring, and it was just this natural feeling of pleasure, right? And I didn't know, and she instantly told me to knock it off, and that was absolutely not okay, and that was it. Like, get away from it. There was no explanation. There was no anything, and so I just thought it was wrong. Like, I did not understand, and so then later on, you know, you go into high school and you learn nothing about my pussy or my vulva. I learned about penises and how not to get pregnant. Like, that was the 2 points that, and then we learned about, you know, our cycles. So there was that. So needless to say, I had to learn like on my own, and that actually ended up coming in a little bit later. I had out of high school, a boyfriend and I moved in together, or at the end of high school or something like that. I can't remember. I moved out of my house really early. And I remember his roommate was like completely obsessed with porn mags, and I completely fell in love with Playboy, and I wanted to be in Playboy so bad, like so bad. It was a dream of mine. Nothing even compared to those women in Playboy. Like, he had every mag out there, and I wasn't interested. I was so interested in Playboy. I just in awe of these women. And so then I ended up actually like trying to pursue that and some modeling stuff, and was told that I wasn't small enough, even for Playboy. Like, they wanted somebody really, really, really small. And I am a lot larger girl now. Very proud of that. Very strong woman. But I was itty bitty then, and I didn't fit the bill. So that was heartbreaking in the sense for modeling. It also was a big issue for me mentally, regarding my insecurities of my pussy, because when I looked at all these magazines, I didn't look like the girls in the magazines. Like, they had all these really tiny, tucked in, like tight lips, and I do not. And it was really, really devastating. So for me, I thought there was something wrong with me, and I kept that insecurity really, really, really deep and tight inside of me. I didn't let anyone know. I didn't have any like personal confirmations that there was something wrong with me. Like my boyfriend seemed happy. And, but I was just like, oh, this is probably why. Like every reason I could think of was I was blaming myself for not looking the same. And I didn't have anybody else to tell me differently because my parents didn't talk about it, right? My sisters didn't talk about it. So it was a deep, deep, deep rooted insecurity of mine. So that kept me from like trying to really dig into modeling, and I just kind of stepped back, and it was what it was. And so I just kind of moved on and just focused on motorcycle riding. Like I love to ride dirt bikes. And so I just decided, well, you know what? I don't want to do that anyways. I just want to ride motorcycles, right? I just kind of used it as an excuse. So then I'm kind of peeking at my notes again. Then from there, I met who is now my husband now. And I remember after us dating for a while and me getting super comfortable with him, I remember mentioning that I wanted to go have surgery, that I wanted to fix my lips, and I wanted to look like these girls. And he was blown away. He had no idea that I was so insecure with that and didn't understand why, and thought I was absolutely nuts and that he loved every little bit of me. And it was a huge turning point in accepting who I was. And even though I still kind of had this underlying like, well, if I had the money, I probably would go fix it, and God, how painful would that be? Or, you know, but it just was kind of just still on like the to-do list. And so I just kind of had to live with it. And it wasn't until a handful of years ago now, but like right when I turned about 30, I kind of started to come into my own, because between that time we had our kids. I had gained a lot of weight and worked on getting myself back. And so when I turned 30, I was starting to really kind of feel myself again and build that confidence. And it was a lot better. I started to kind of embrace who I was. And then about 6 or 7 years ago, I started to really start deep diving into a spiritual journey on my own. And I was just naturally drawn to this, you know, healing of my sensuality. And I didn't really even know that I needed that type of healing. But I'm so glad that it did, because I had a lot of walls that were built up from different experiences that I didn't even really know that were holding me back. And one of them was I just was very disassociated from my body. And we're going to go into that. I'm going to teach on that for sure. But it means like you just kind of always are on the outside of your body and you're always judging like everything. So it's called disassociation. And then when you are actually like having sex and you're really disassociated, it's called spectatoring. And we're going to get into all that. So the biggest thing is like I had to learn to love my body exactly the way that it is, and that I really leaned into the whole tantric side of things, of like really looking at your body as a temple and as a gift and as this like absolutely incredible manifestation of the divine. When I started to really learn about my pussy and everything that it was about and the emotions that it was holding, and to really connect to her on a very different level, my whole entire world changed, like my whole entire world. And this was so fucking exciting for me, because all these fears and all these judgments that I held on to for so many years started to fall away, right? And everything takes time. Like, it really does take time. And just learning to lean in, learning to trust who you are. And then what I thought was really, really fascinating was the more I fell in love with who I was, the better that my body would actually respond. Like, I've always been somebody that has been trying to be like a really good role model in the sense of my fitness and my nutrition and everything like that. But it always felt like I couldn't totally reach my own personal goal. And since dropping into my body and like really listening to her as this temple and wanting to feel really good all the time, it was like my body just was so receptive, in the sense of that it was trying to please me. And this whole entire time it really was. And I just was like completely disassociated with it. So this was like me coming back home. Like, I know it sounds odd, and I know it sounds like, what the heck is she talking about? But through this process, I'm going to be teaching you like all these different steps. And it's not only, again, it's not only teaching the woman, right? It's along the way it was teaching my husband these tools for myself. And he was very open and receptive, because he could see like this crack of this shell like breaking away, and all of a sudden there was just nothing but like desire and lust and this woman that just could not wait to come out and share herself with the world, right? Like, the most crazy thing is the reason why I'm so comfortable with doing this OnlyFans and getting into like sharing my content and not having like this judgment, is because I have felt like for whatever it is, 25 years or 20 years or so, I have been completely hiding from myself, and I haven't like shared like all the happiness and joy and love that my pussy has been able to give me. And it sounds crazy, but it is like this, like, she's just screaming for this love and this attention that she just has yearned for her whole entire life. And now she's getting it. She's getting the attention. She's getting the pleasure. She's getting all the things. And what is incredible is the fact that you change everybody's life around you when you really drop into yourself, because they can't help but feed off your energy, right? You can't help but feed off somebody's energy that is just so like exotic and yummy and juicy and just like in the moment, right? Like, it's very magnetic and it's very enticing, right? Like, all the things. And so that is what's happening in my world right now, is like, the more I get to share, like, the more it brings like this amazing energy into my space. And then that brings me more and more confident to like shy away from the people that don't agree with me and don't approve of what I'm doing. And it's fine. Like, I personally do not have any hang-ups, and I am so confident and happy with who I am. And I've let go of this feeling of perfectionist and being and trying to be perfect. And I am fucking me, and I am who I am, and there's going to be people that love it, and there's going to be people that don't love it, and then that is absolutely okay. And I am here now to really, 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 really support the men and women that are trying to, really get through to themselves and break down the walls and let go of everything and create just this like undeniable pleasure in their bodies for themselves and for their partners. So that's a little bit, I mean, it's a lot of it of who I am and what I stand for and what I am, all mixed into one. So I really truly believe every single woman is a goddess, and we are designed for pleasure, period. Like it's how our bodies are designed, and I'm going to get into that in another video. So I hope this helped you, and I hope to be able to support you and get you into a state of complete fucking bliss with your desires and all your pleasures, and help you knock down these walls and learn that this is okay. Like, it is absolutely okay to enjoy yourself and enjoy your partner and enjoy these toys and enjoy whatever kinks and things that you enjoy. We're human, and humans are sexual beings, and this is absolutely okay. It's okay to be one with yourself and be one with your partners. So hope you guys have a great night, and I will post the challenge underneath this video, and we'll go from there. All right, I hope you guys have a great evening.